Well, hey guys, how you doing? Good evening, good morning, wherever you are. I thought we'd do a little St. Paddy's music. How's it sounding out there? All right. Well, we've definitely tonight. How's it sound? Give me a thumbs up or something. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, here we go. So, let's see, we got a good position here. So we got the guitar tuned here to dead. Yeah, this is a good Irish tuning. So his first song, this is one of Pierre Bensusan's, French fingerstyle guitarist. This is a song of his called March of the Lost Piper. I didn't know who Pierre Bensusan was. I was at a John Renbourn concert. John Renbourn was this great fingerstyle guitarist from the UK, founding member of, excuse me, of Pentacle. And I was talking with him after the concert. He was sharing the lyrics for that great Davy Graham song, Blues Run the Game, which we'll play another time. And he wrote the lyrics down for me on the back of a napkin. I still have it downstairs sometime. And he said, "Oh, if you think I'm good, you got to listen to Pierre Bensusan." So I went over, I started listening, and I even went over to study with Pierre for a couple of weeks. And he lived east of Paris. He had converted this pigsty house, this little pig house, into a little apartment. And that's where I stayed for 3 weeks in February, like 1998 or something. Pretty cold over there. Anyway, this is one of Pierre's songs, and this is called March of the Lost Piper. Enjoy. Thanks. That's Pierre Bensusan's original tune. He spent a lot of time in Ireland. He had a thing for Irish music for a while before he went jazzier and fancier, and that was one of his tunes. Welcome. Hey there, Renee. How's it going tonight? Hope you're doing well. Everyone doing okay? I can't hear you. I said, are you doing all right? Yes. So here's an interesting story, guys. This guitar is a Loudon. It's made in Belfast at the Loudon Guitar Factory. And when I was, in Colorado for a while, it got kind of dry, started to warp and things. I called the Loudon Factory. In LA, they said, "Oh no, this is really serious. It's got to go back to Ireland, Northern Ireland, to Belfast for them to fix it." So it turned out this is 1997, my first year going over to visit the crop circles with Ron Russell. We all know what that led to. Yeah, crop circles. So I brought the guitar over on the plane. Yes, in the plane itself. And I think I got permission ahead of time, and from the airline to put it in the baggage hold. And when the tour was done, that first year we had the Coke Snowflake by Silbury Hill. 97 was just like a knockout year for crop circles. It was the first time I had ever seen them, and it was a kind of a beginning of this big kind of adventure. I rented a car and drove over to Ireland, and went up to Belfast. Now, I actually lived in Ireland as a kid because my dad in the 1960s, 1966 to be exact, worked for the Bank of Ireland. He was an international economist. So we lived there for 6 months south of Dublin in Dunleary, which is this nice little town had a castle from the Norman times. They had turned it into a candy castle. It was called the Tower of Treats from an earlier time. And there was a beach there, and you could look out on the Isle of Howth, which James Joyce wrote about. Howth Island was out there. Anyway, when I went back to the Loudon, to bring the guitar back to them, to go up to Northern Ireland, we landed at a good old Dunleary. It looked a little smaller than when I was 3. But I think what happened is we were around Dublin so much, there was so much music coming out of those pubs. I just learned, in my bones to like Irish music. So that's the story of this guitar. And, back in 97, it was the times of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. But I talked to the young people there, and they said, we just want things to get better. We're not interested in fighting with anyone. The main thing we want U2 to come play in Belfast. And U2 had told them, we're only going to come once you guys settle down and there's no more fighting and killing. And it happened. They settled down. They worked out their differences. And U2 went and played there. So. Okay, so why don't we play Milk Hill? This is another finger-picking song. It's an original song. Milk Hill, this was another Coke Snowflake type fractal crop circle. Milk Hill is this old, big old hill near Alton Barnes. It looked over this big valley, and so many crop circles showed up there, but not just crop circles. It's where Steve Greer went to do his sky watches on Woodborough Hill. I was up there once with Linda Moulton Howe. We saw some strange stuff, and orbs would show up there. I saw a ball of light very close to Milk Hill on Knapp Hill. So it's a very kind of special place. Here we go. Thanks very much. Thanks, guys. How's the volume there? Everything sounding good? So, the story of this guitar is I bring it all the way back to the factory in Loudon, and I meet the two guys that had bought it from, I think it was George Loudon. They were kind of controversial. And, I mean, not everyone liked these two new owners of Loudon. But here's what they said. So I'm in there, said, look, your guitar just got dehumidified in the 5,000 feet elevation of Boulder, Colorado, so we're going to let it sit by a window by the Irish Sea for 3 months, and it's going to be fine when we send it back to you. So they let it sit by this, gated window, open window overnight, 3 months, sitting there by the Irish Sea, and when they sent it back, it was perfect. Everything was like new again. They were totally right. And they didn't do a darn thing to it. They just let it sit by the place where it was born, Belfast by the sea, and it was fine again. So they were right. It needed humidification. I don't know. Should we do a singing song here? Let's do a real kind of Irish type song. I learned this one from the Tannahill Weavers. You guys know the Tannahill Weavers are this great Scottish group. Really fantastic. When I went to graduate school at the University of Arizona in the 1980s, they had a Celtic music club there, an organization for Celtic and folk music. And they had a wonderful Celtic radio station. Some of the time it was Celtic folk. And they brought in the best Celtic and folk groups that existed in the 80s. The folks from Silly Wizard and the O'Domnails and Ewan McCall and Peggy Seeger. And I grew up on folk music because my mom loved folk music. So it was just in the house all the time. So here I was, Tucson, Arizona, southern Arizona, was surrounded by folk and Celtic music, so it was great. Yes, Jules, it went to the spa and it was happy. So this is called the Cuillins of Rhum. I think it's like a Scottish, folk song. I don't think the Tannies actually wrote it, but maybe they rearranged it. This is their arrangement. And they're still around, the Tannahill Weavers. They're really fantastic stuff from them. And I went up to them when they were in Spokane, Washington one time. I said, are you going to do the Cuillins of Rhum? And they said, no, we're not playing that on this tour. So here it is. Soon shall I see thy bright shores in the sunlight, the heather of hill and the rising of morn. The rolling gray sea mist rolls east in the morning to run the wild hills of the Cuillins of Rhum. Far away seaward, green hills are lovelit, where runs the hill water of foam to the sea. Like heather in hill time, like snow wreath in moonlight, as thou who art yearning, well yearned to be. the Cullins of home. And here in my dream time I'm hearing hill water, the laughter of streams by the Cullins of Rhum. Soon shall I see thy bright shores in the sunlight, the heather of hill and the rising of morn. The rolling gray sea mist rolls east in the morning to run the wild hills of the Cullins of Yes. Well, thanks. That was the Cullins of Rhum streams. Oh, Rhum. Rhum is an island off the coast of Scotland. Sounds like a very beautiful place, and there are these streams. And someone who was there wrote this song, and it's been handed down to us for a while. Well, should we do another? These are really true Irish songs. I learned these from Pierre. From his albums. This is the Flax and the Bloom and the Pure Drop. These are reels. These are true Irish reels. And these are a little tricky to play. So let's hope we get it right here. I got the capo on the second fret, and let's do it. How about that? Whoa. So, it wasn't the end of the travails of this guitar, because it was in Halloween about 10 years ago. I was going up to visit Mom, and I brought the guitar along, and they have like rideshare now instead of regular taxis. So we're in Westchester, New York, and like this guy it was an Uber car, drive. He had a lot of things in the trunk, and I didn't see all of them. I pushed the trunk down. I had a soft case. Don't use soft cases when you're traveling. This is a lesson to you. And I pushed it down, and some cars have like a pretty deep brace on the back trunk, and that brace went right through the top of this guitar, and it didn't shut. So I pushed it harder. Oh my God, what was it? Whoa, and it did. It split the whole thing right here. Fortunately, right down there in Harlem was one of the best guitar repair shops in New York State. Picamoose. Yeah, Picamoose Guitar Repair. And I brought it down there on 125th Street, where I had been before. I had actually been there before. And I brought it in, and he said, "Oh yeah, we can fix it. It's gonna take a lot of coats of lacquer. 9 coats of lacquer. 9 coats of lacquer, 1 per month. We gotta let it dry." Yeah, seriously. 9 coats of lacquer. It really worked. This guy, you can't see any damage to it anymore. He fixed it all up. 9 coats of lacquer once a month for 9 months. And you'll get your guitar back, and we'll put a new mic in there and stuff. We'll make it sound good again, and we're gonna do an MRI equivalent on the fretboard here, so it's flat, and file down the frets a little bit, Anyway, a year and a couple months later, I got the guitar back from Picamoose, and sounds good. He did a good job on it. Said, I still remember it, Mr. Tennessee Bigfoot, he said, I think this guitar's got some years in it. I think we should give it another shot. It wasn't the cheapest thing I ever did in my life, but I mean, it's your freaking Loudon. So you guys are enjoying the benefits of the Loudon factory and the place in Harlem that fixed it. Okay. So the thing about guitar and sound is, sound creates energy. When we do speaking videos, cymatics and frequency and all those cool things. And it was Ernst Friedrich Florenz Chladni, the German father of acoustics, that realized that you could create geometrical patterns, in sand and lycopodium dust. Dr. Hans Jenny, you've all seen this. We've talked about this before, but it's kind of cool that this famous physicist who invented the science of acoustics and waves, and is even considered by some to be kind of the forerunner of quantum mechanics, because he was thinking about this wave function. Yeah, with guitar strings. He played violin. He went around Europe playing his violin and creating these patterns on metal plates. Well, it turns out this guy Chladni, he also was the first to propose the idea of extraterrestrials. I mean, meteorites. Back then, around 1800, they didn't believe that anything could come from space, because Aristotle said nothing happens past the moon. Superlunar area is just frozen. It's like nothing's going on out there. So there's no stones in the sky. It can't be coming from the sky. Chladni and Biot, the French physicist, they got together like these detectives on the ground. Eagle, France, 1803 or something. All these meteorites come down in an elliptical pattern. And they said, aha, it could only be elliptical if it was breaking up and coming from the sky at an angle. So it has to be extraterrestrial. And that's where this started, not with UAP and all this stuff. It started with freaking meteorites. So whenever you hear people being skeptical about any of the stuff that we talk about on this channel, any channel with new science, remember, people didn't even believe in meteorites. They called them thunderstones, volcano stones. They thought they came from volcanoes because no one could imagine anything coming from outside the planet. It was just considered static out there. As you see how much progress. So thank you, Chladni. Cymatics, we got extraterrestrials. And you can see he kind of, before Schrodinger wave function, he was thinking about these wave functions, simple wave functions back then. And Schrodinger came along and just added a couple more orbitals and added some measure numbers, and that's how we have quantum mechanics. See, all those all started with acoustic instruments. No joke. But there's another component to this, which is really cool, guys. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going with this. Yes, the big guy, Biggie. Biggie seems to have the ability to project coherent sound and use vibration and sound to create electromagnetic disturbances and weird effects on people and all that from sound. So anytime you have compaction and pressure, if it builds up enough, like it seems like the big guy is capable of doing with that volume and with a certain degree of focus, seems to shift realities. I mean, it seems to put people in an altered state. So I feel like when we play instruments like this, we're getting a little bit of the Biggie effect. How about that? It's what I truly believe. So, music and sound and science is all the same thing. It's not different topic. It's just whatever buzzes your buzzer at the moment, right? Whatever floats your bowl. Yeah, so it's Chladni. This is how it's spelled, by the way. If you want to look him up. Yeah, that's him. Ernst Friedrich Florenz Chladni. There's like a woodcut of him, and he wrote some books on meteorites. I mean, isn't that kind of cool? You think of the debates we're going through nowadays, and people say, "I don't believe it. It's a flock of geese. It's a weather balloon. It's a mistaken. Those F-18 pilots. They were stressed, and it was just a piece of debris. Party balloons floating by the base." But that's what people have always said. And you could be wrong. It really could turn out to be something really different. And that's a momentous time, 1803 and 1804, when everyone... one more thing about this. All the museums in Europe had thrown out their meteorites because it was considered a hoax. They threw away meteorites. I learned about this from Ron Westrom at these conferences. He lectured about this. They threw away the meteorites because the Academy of French Sciences said it's just volcano stones. And all throughout Europe, they threw away their meteorites, and you won't find any before 1800, except for one really big one somewhere. They couldn't move it. And all the rest went in the garbage. Okay. So while we're talking about Biggie, yes, we got to do the Biggie song. This is called Ride My Big Feet. Here's what this song's about. I kind of imagine what would it be like if Biggie gave you a piggyback ride. Huge Bigfoot. And they say, okay, instead of yelling at you and screaming at you and making you run away, they were like nice, and they said, hey, I'm going to give you a piggyback ride to the forest. Because if you read these accounts, people have said it feels like gliding when they lift you up in the sleeping bag around the campfire at night and whisk you away for, before they put you down. It's just gliding. So I kind of wondered, well, okay, so this is called Ride My Big Feet, and it's imagining, riding on their shoulders, stuff like this. Because, I ran into a guy who said he used to, and I'm not joking, in the Salt Lake City area as a kid, like in the 60s, he would meet them out way at the end of the road on his bike, and they would play and stuff. They were really big. And they could speak a little bit of English, and they would teach them how to throw stones and make stick structures. So here we go. All right, well, we got a request here for the 12 string, guys. So we can't turn down a request from Jules for the 12 string, can we? So, hold on. We happen to have a 12 string back there. Good eyes, Jules. Hold on. We're going to switch guitars here. 1 second. We're going to switcheroo here. Let's hope it's in tune. Okay, 1 second. The show must go on. Yes. All right. Now we gotta do a little switcheroo here on the controls. 1 second. The only problem with 12 string, guys, tuning. When I played this at an open mic recently, I mean, it was like half an hour of tuning before I showed up there. We can do this. Luckily, we have built-in tuners in these devices. Yeah, this is a dog. When I first got this guy and I took out the guitar, it was like scary. He like ran away. You know, it was the first day, you know. He's like, what's that? And now it's like, this is how you put your dog to sleep. Play guitar. That's how you put the babies to sleep. Okay, I'm going to make an adjustment here 1 second. Switch the tone a little bit for this guitar. Okay. So what's the story of this guitar? This is another guitar. This is the, I grew up listening to Leo Cocky. Leo Cocky played guitars like this. He could really play them. All right, let's see. What do you guys want to hear now? Let's put this capo on. Let's see how that sounds. See if we need a little more guitar angle here. Okay, this is not quite Irish, but this is John Fahey. Spanish two-step. Yes. Fahey, yeah, Fahey. John Fahey, a Spanish two-step. I saw Leo Kottke on soundstage when I was like 14. I used to play violin, and I switched from violin. Yeah, we do it for free because it's such an easy way. It's a free way to have fun, to make energy, to feel good. It doesn't cost anything. It's non-destructive, and it creates resonance, just all these good things. Yeah, it puts your dog to sleep, too. Okay, so we're going to do Led Zeppelin now. Yes, the Zepper. This song from Led Zeppelin 3, That's the Way. Okay, so my first rock concert ever was Led Zeppelin in Madison Square Garden. My brother took me. And they played this song. You remember Zeppelin used to do this acoustic set? The second side of Zeppelin 3 was full of these great acoustic songs. And this one, That's the Way, always caught me. I always loved it, and I saw someone do it, and I realized, hey, I can do that song. Let's see if we got the right tune. Tell me. Yeah, so Plant and Page wrote this when they were out, I think in Wales. They rented a cottage out there. They got inspired by the Welsh countryside, and they wrote all these acoustic songs. And this is a song about conformity, not fitting in. That's the way. Mama told me I can't play with you no more. I can't believe what Mama said to me. My friend, the boy next door. When I'm out, I see you walking. Why don't your eyes see me? Could it be you found another game to play? What did Mama say to me? That's the way it ought to be. That's the way it ought to stay. Yesterday I saw you standing by the river. Those tears that filled your eyes, and all the fish that lay in dirty water dying, how they got you hypnotized. Yesterday I saw you picking tiny flowers, but all that lives is born to die. And I say to you that nothing really matters. All you do is stand and cry. That's the way it ought to be. say about it. All your ears have turned away. But now the time's a time to look around, and what you see is that the way it ought to stay. That's the way it ought to be. Ah, don't you know? Mama said that's the way that ought to stay. Yes, the Zappers. Well, anyway, folks, thanks so much. We'll do this again sometime. Thanks for sharing St. Paddy's Day together. By the way, this is tuned to open G. Thanks a lot, guys. Keep the faith. Hang in there. Keep resonating to positive vibes. And we'll all get through this together. If you liked any of this music, my music is on all the major streaming services. All my original tunes. I've got actually five album CDs at this point. It's all on all those streaming services, and my website is openingmindsmusic.com. All right, folks, thanks a lot. We will see you around. Take care for now, and bye-bye.